Hi, Scripties. Welcome back to your guys' favorite podcast, Scripts and Screens. This is episode 3. I'm your host, Imani Nicole.
And I'm Ashana Robinson.
All right, Ashana, what's the latest in television and film this week?
Okay, so I don't know if you remember this, but back in 2021, around October, actor Alec Baldwin shot and killed cinematographer Helena, I think that's how you pronounce her name, Hutchins, on the set of the movie Rust in New Mexico. He also injured director Joel Souza. So this is what happened. I mean, I won't there, but reading from what I can gather, he was going to draw. I guess it's like a Western movie. I have not seen it, but he went to draw this gun, and I guess it was pointed in the direction of the cinematographer, and he pulled the trigger, and it was a live round in this prop gun, and it hit her, it hit the director, and she ended up dying in the hospital. He pleaded not guilty to the charge of manslaughter and was facing up to 18 months in prison. The prosecution argued that Baldwin did not use proper safety procedures. Apparently, they're taught to never actually aim the gun at someone and then pull the trigger. But then his defense argued that it should have never been loaded, stating that he was just an actor doing his job, acting like did he know that it was loaded. On Friday, the judge dismissed the manslaughter charge. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about this. But do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember briefly hearing about this. Condolences to her family. I agree, though, that the gun shouldn't have been loaded, and I'm really confused as to why it ever would be. All the action shootout movies in the world, we have John Wick. This man is murdering men left and right, and you don't hear things like this happening. So it's like there's something that needs to be addressed here, and I don't think it's necessarily with Alec Baldwin. So I think they should look into who loaded the gun, and they should get potential charges or repercussions at the very least.
Right. That's what I'm saying too. It's just very confusing because, like you said, how was there even a loaded gun on set? Why would there need to be a loaded gun on set other than maybe like a security officer who shouldn't be, shooting it? So I think someone should be held accountable. I don't know if it's actually, I don't think he should, but the prop manager, whoever supplied this gun, needs to be held accountable because you can't just have somebody dying and then nothing happens to anyone.
Yeah.
So
if I'm the family, I'm like, yeah, somebody's got to pay for this. Like,
Somebody's
this is
gotta pay.
unacceptable.
Right. But anyway, so moving on to today's episode, we will discuss our two pot and pop picks, and then we'll end with our viewer's choice pick. So let's get into our first one.
So our first plot and pop this week is the critically acclaimed series The Bear, season 3, which is a comedy drama created by Christopher Storer for FX on Hulu. Jeremy Allen White stars as Carmi Berzatto, an award-winning chef who returns to his hometown of Chicago to manage the chaotic kitchen at his deceased brother's sandwich shop. This season, I felt, did a deeper dive into the supporting cast, and I was curious as to whose journey did you enjoy finding out more.
So online, I need to stop looking at stuff online, but it just pops up on the algorithm. But online kept raving about how episode 6, Tina's backstory, napkins, was supposed to be the best of the seasons. I was like waiting on that. But when I look back and look over the whole season, I think I appreciated the episode Ice Chips, which was with Natalie and Dee Dee when they were in the hospital. I think that was my favorite. That, and then the final episode showing Carmi's mentor closing her restaurant while the mentor that he hates was also in attendance. But what I did like most about Napkins, I guess since it was just the one episode focused on Tina, it kind of confused me because I felt like she was really portrayed in season 1 as being like a bitch. Like, you know, when they were like, when they first took over Sydney and Carmi, she just was not it.
Yeah, she was resistant.
Right.
To
So then
change.
after seeing like her origin episode 6, and then seeing her now, she never is really portrayed as like being a bitch, except for that first episode back in season 1. It also seems like she was very sweet. So, and then it also looked like the bear gave her opportunities, and that's why she was less bitter. But again, looking back, it was like she was never really bitter, even when she lost her job and was going like looking for a job every single day and being turned down. She wasn't really bitter. And then when she started the beef, she wasn't bitter. So she must have just been. But then it does take me back to the episode where she's talking to Mikey about hating like the young kids in higher positions than her, but also admiring them. So I think maybe that's what that was, because I really thought Tina, like, I'm still waiting on her every time I see her smiling at like Marcus or something like that. I'm waiting on her to go back into this bitch mode that she never returns to because
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
I agree. I think I agree with the online. I think Napkins was the best scene. And then for me, secondly, would be the legacy episode. That would be a smooth second. I like how in that legacy scene,
Mhm.
they asked each other, like, well, what is legacy? And everyone had a different answer. Like Carmi's, to me, more so felt like he didn't want to leave anything bad behind. Where
Right.
Marcus was more so like, I just want to be a good person. Like, I want to have said that I
Mhm.
worked hard and I left this world a nice person. And then Sydney's was just like, I'm just trying to get through Wednesday. So it's like, it's just interesting to see how everybody feels about what legacy means to them. And
Mhm.
circling back to Sydney, I feel like she was who I was most interested in this season to see like how it was going to play off from her second season. And I think they really illustrated the dynamic relationship she's had at home and in the workplace. And what I'm
Mhm.
starting to gather with Sydney is like she doesn't really make a move, which is what they are wanting her to do, is signing this partner agreement until she's forced, until she like can't take it anymore. So like you
Mhm.
see in the opening episode, her and her dad are like discussing bathroom time, and she's like, "Look, Dad, like bathroom time, like your bathroom time is come and gone." And he's like saying, "Well, I ate something at this place, and it's running through me like water. I need my bathroom time now."
I
And I think
love
she's
them. I
really
love that
just, yeah,
tension.
I do like their dynamic. I think it's very cute,
Mhm.
and I think she's just at her wits end. But she's also, when she's coming to this independence, she still cares about the opinions of those that she admire. So like even when she already bought the apartment, but she brings her dad just to hear his take on it. Like, what do you think about
Right.
it? And you know, he still gives that negative feedback, and she's like, you're being negative. And then when she turns around and tells him that he already bought it, he's like, okay, well, let's go get furniture. Which is what I think the same thing will happen with Carmi. Like, I don't think he's gonna want to see her leave. He's gonna have a lot to say about it. Like, they're not gonna do this, they're not gonna do that, you're not gonna be able to do this there. But I
Mhm.
think essentially he will give her his best wishes. But like, I don't blame her if she does even want to go to a different restaurant, because Carmi is a lot. And I feel like he's become his mentor. Like he's over here saying that his mentor gave him all these things. But when you watch this season, Carmi is is literally the spitting image of his mentor, the way he treats one, the
Mhm.
way he thinks that his stuff is the best. And like, come to find out, some people like certain things that Sydney did, but like it's Carmi's way or no way. So
Right.
I'm really excited to see what happens. What was your take on that?
Right. Yeah, I definitely feel like tension and anxiety was its own character this season.
Yeah.
Like I noticed like the first couple episodes, they didn't really do have a lot of dialogue. Like it was just a lot of like noises, restaurant noises, like high music that really just made the audience, it just tenses you up. Like,
Yeah.
so I did notice that. Um, but yeah, I agreed
Yeah.
with everything that she said.
Yeah, and episode 1, I love that how like after every single episode there was a song. Episode 1 had no music, and I think it fit so
Mhm.
perfectly. I think you're
Mhm.
right with the music and sounds. Like it literally was just showing their names, no background music at all. So with this being a series that is loved by everybody, here we are, season 3. I know a lot of people that watch this show and enjoy this show. What
Mhm.
are your thoughts on future seasons? What are you hoping that they change or add or keep the same in order for
Mhm.
this series to continue to succeed?
Right. Okay. So I know this might sound weird, but this series gave us a lot and nothing at the same time. Like
Mm.
it gave us 10 episodes, but what really happened in those 10 episodes? The only thing that was resolved was Natalie had her baby. Maybe Carmi actually confronting his mentor that's caused him all this trauma and he keeps having these traumatic flashbacks. But other than that,
Yeah.
nothing literally happened. It's just so slow pace, but it's
Mhm.
so good and like diving into the characters that it still keeps people watching. So I think
Correct.
if they keep the pace like this, they'll be able to
Mhm.
keep this show moving on for years. I don't know if it's gonna have a run like Grey's Anatomy. They really gonna have to start switching people in and out if they want like
Yeah,
20
for
seasons.
sure.
But this pace that they're definitely moving in is slow. But for season 4, which we already know is coming because it said to be continued at the end, and then
Right.
I've seen in the news they've been already. I think I
Filming.
saw where Richie said they filmed like 18 episodes and this is only 10. So
So they already
yeah,
filmed it, but they're dropping it in
yeah,
a
yeah, I saw that on Instagram. So
okay.
I definitely have high hopes for a romantic relationship between Richie and Chef Jess.
Yes.
Um, I think he deserves it. I
Me
think he deserves
too.
it. His
I'm
baby
rooting
mom
for
get on my
him.
nerves. Like she's like, you need to come to the
Yeah, shoot,
wedding.
if it makes you miserable, I still want you to be there. Yeah, she was
Right.
pissing me off. And I actually like her because she's in a
Yes.
couple things that I've watched and
Oh,
I enjoy
really?
her. Yes, I
Mhm.
forget the name of it, but it was this one series on Netflix. I think it might have been called Love, where she basically gives this weird guy kind of a chance but ends up falling in love with him. And it's actually a really cute series. And he's like
Oh, okay.
not typically attractive of what people would go for. But yeah,
Mhm.
like I think Richie has been beaten down. And I really want to see a winning season for him. I really do.
Mhm. And he's still I didn't realize he was still wearing his wedding ring until he, like, took it off that one episode.
Oh,
Did
I
you
didn't
see
even
that?
notice. No, I didn't even peep
Yeah, it
that.
was after he spoke with his daughter, and she was like,
Oh,
"Mom
and
says
she's like,
you're
Mom says you're
lonely."
alone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
took his ring off, and I was like, "I didn't know he was still wearing it."
Yeah, I
But
didn't know
yes,
that
so
either.
I'm hoping that if it's not I think it's gonna be with Jess, but if it's not with Jess, I hope that they do give him somebody in this upcoming season.
Yeah.
And the internet again, because I stay on the internet, keeps pushing this Carmi Sydney narrative,
Yeah, I
but
don't see
I
it
don't
anymore. I mean, I did
I
season
don't
2,
know.
season 3, I don't see it. I really don't.
But I don't know if you noticed, which I also followed up on the internet with this, but that last dish he made, that sauce, with the black and then the white drops in it, and they kept zooming in on the sauce, was the exact color of her head wrap. So people were saying, I
The
mean, then
internet is trying it.
but honestly, Imani, like the way they focused in on it, 'cause, like normally they show the dish, but they showed the dish and then they kept zooming in on this dish. Like they were focusing in on that. So they're saying like that's like a little hidden thing. They're saying Sydney is falling out of love with Carmi and Carmi is falling more in love with Sydney. I don't know. That's just
Mhm.
what but once I saw that, I'm like, his attention to detail, if that is what it is, then maybe I don't know. But he gotta do a whole lot to win my girl Sydney because it just seems like
He's
he's
so
getting
dismissive of her, even in the kitchen. How can that work? I don't think she wants that for a partner. Like, I think that's why she
uh
gravitates more towards Marcus. I don't think she wants Marcus
mhm.
romantically, but she enjoys that friendship because I feel like when they're talking, she's actually being heard. Carmi
Mhm.
doesn't hear anybody but himself.
No, that but himself. And honestly, like when she was talking to Chef Lucas, I'm like, this is the most like male
So her
that
little glass
Sydney
of
has.
wine.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, it's Sydney. And then he's gonna be here for a few months. Remember he said that. So I'm
Yes.
like, well, is this gonna be something new? So maybe there's a romantic relationship there. I think I mean not Sydney, Carmi does care for Claire, but I don't know if that's gonna go anywhere. But I'm
Yeah.
hoping that Carmi kind of gets it together and that the talk that he had with that chef, even though it wasn't really, I don't know what he was expecting the chef to say, but I
Right.
hope that kind of brought him some sort of peace. But when Carmi said, I think about you all the time, and that chef said, I don't think about you at
Do it
all.
all.
Oh my
I just feel like some
God.
people may agree with me, but like the mental anguish with Carmi, I'm over it. It's been like 3
Mhm.
straight seasons of it and
It's getting worse.
I'm not yeah, it's like and I'm just so tired of him lacking balance and not having the proper coping strategies to deal with his issues.
Hmm.
Like he's going to have an Eric real soon, like from our the little puppet that's
Hmm.
just like it's headed in that direction and I need something else to give with him like you said. Like I don't know, it one or two things has to happen. Either like he goes to therapy or he doesn't, or he has like a super low point where maybe he gets to the same point as his brother where he just can't take it.
Right.
I need something, but this whole every season, it's just him in his head. And it just makes me kind of appreciate Richie more because I feel like Carmi hasn't been through like I don't think his pain is supersedes anybody else's pain. So when I see Richie, who literally his freaking baby mama, I don't know if they were ever married. Oh, yeah, they were married. They took their wedding ring off his
Hmm.
daughter's asking him, what do I call this new man in my life? Like, and I feel like Richie is so positive for somebody who has like such a shit
Hmm.
hand, where Carmi is just nasty to people because he's going through stuff where I don't feel like Richie wears his grief
Right.
and I need something else to give. What I've learned in all these seasons or the 3 seasons of The Bear, he abandons everyone. He has abandonment issues. The only thing that he's loyal to is food. If it's
Hmm.
not food, he's guaranteed to leave you. You're just a ticking time bomb with him. But I
Hmm.
agree with you. I think the length of the episodes needs to stay the same. I think they found a really sweet spot with that. And I also love that we learn about kitchen culture every time like the season
Hmm.
comes around. Like I have a newfound respect for like those Michelin star restaurants, like all that
Hmm.
stuff that goes into it and all that pressure. Like being a chef is literally more pressure than being like Kim Kardashian. Like you
Yeah.
literally have people judging you for something that like you openly chose to participate in. Like the pressure is so thick and your job literally goes off personal opinion and you're judged off like what do people think about you. So
Yeah.
I think going into a restaurant now, I'm probably gonna think about something before I make a substitution. Like I like when they were arguing in there about substitute, like Richie saying he doesn't like mushrooms. They're like, is it a modification or is it I forget the other word they use.
Or
Like,
there's like it's an allergy or they
yeah, is it a
yeah.
modification? And he's like, I don't know. The dude just doesn't like mushrooms. And it's like, and I'm like, maybe we should stop substituting stuff. Like maybe even if we don't like mushrooms, maybe it tastes different in this dish. So like, I don't know. Next
Right.
time I go somewhere that's like kind of upscale, I'm gonna not substitute because I didn't even realize that I'm offending the chef.
Either. I didn't either. But yeah, that is definitely something to keep in mind. And speaking of substitutions, I don't know if you peeped this, but it was probably one of my favorite moments of the series, well, the season. So the very first episode, it was showing where Carmi was working in that one kitchen with that crazy. I'm gonna call him Chef Diablo, the devil chef, I guess, because he's just I can't remember his name, but he's just so
Yeah, I
mean.
can't remember his name.
But yeah, Carmi like makes his own creation. I think it was like a scallop or something. I can't remember. And the chef is like, "No, I hate it." And then someone comes in with an allergy, and Carmi substitutes the regular menu item with the creation that man said that he hated. And then the waiter brings it out and puts it in front of the person, the guest, and we see that the guest is Sydney. And she eats it and she loves it. And then shows us like the first, well, I think back to the very first episode where she's telling him when they first meet that she went to some restaurant and she had a dish that she loved and it made her want to be a chef. And it so happened to be that same dish.
So I thought that the scallop dish she came up with because, okay, do you remember when the guy comes in and he's talking to Sydney about how they had already been to the restaurant, they're writing a review, and he said that I really liked the scallop dish. It seemed like it wasn't Carmi. And I felt like he was insinuating that Sid made it.
I think she did make that one, but I'm talking about the very first episode. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I
So the very
can't
first,
remember.
so yeah, Carmi's like still like, I don't want to say he was like an intern, but you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
he's interning and the guy is giving him shit over this dish. And then it shows Sydney because she has some like curly wigs. I guess that's how they're trying to differentiate time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has made this scallop dish and that chef, the devil chef, hates it.
Mhm.
But I guess Sydney had some type of allergy, so they had to substitute out. So Carmi just, I guess, put his dish together
Yeah.
and gave it. It ended up being Sydney who was on the receiving end of it, even though they didn't know
Mhm.
each other. But she tasted it and she liked it, and that's when she told Carmi the first episode of first season, like, "Oh yeah, I ate at that restaurant. I had a dish,
It
and that
made
dish was
me.
from the chef." So she might have done her own version of it
Yeah.
when
I
talking
think
to
I
the
get
other
lost a lot
guys.
of time with the timeline. Like that's one thing I do be getting lost. Cause like when
Yeah,
I was showing Tina, I was like, wait, Tina worked somewhere during the day and then work at the beef at night. Like I did not know that and see Mikey the whole time. I'm like, damn, why she don't just go to the beef and ask to be all the
more
time?
hours.
Just yeah, ask for some more hours. Like what's going on? Then it hit me like, oh, they don't went back in time. And
Yeah,
I feel like another thing with them doing the whole timeline things, like, okay, and I could have missed this, but I feel like we've never met Louis, right? We hear him in the background, but we've never seen Louis, right?
that I don't. Well, I think
I
one
think they would twist on Louis in future seasons.
So one time I think he did show up to the job the first season. She was like, he need a job. But I think we saw him for like 2 seconds. But I do remember
Okay.
she brought her son and was like, he need a job. But I don't remember him coming
Okay.
back.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
they
so
may
I
play with.
they try to switch up the hair a little bit. Like they gave Tina a little bit of like a mullet thing for her throwback, and then Sydney had this
See,
curly wig. But
completely went off me past me because black
yeah,
women change their hair all the time, and I thought Tina just had her natural curls.
what did we watch? What was it that we were watching? That one movie with the orchestra man. But like
Mastro.
Maestro, yeah, didn't they have like black and white when they were going to the past?
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
So
like
it
they
made it
just
a
swap.
lot easier to keep up. And I think also because I have a short attention span. So like even if I look away for a second and then I look back, I'm thinking we're
Yeah,
because I was also wondering like when I kept looking at it until I realized and it hit when Mikey wasn't there. I'm like, where are these guys at that worked at the beat? And then I'm realizing like this is the beat. Those men aren't there anymore because I don't even remember
right.
them being there when Carmi first got there. But maybe
Yeah,
I just
they
missed it.
weren't.
But
They
that was a
weren't
good
there.
touch. Like they did really good on the throwbacks and showing like the how it used to be and how they were cussing each other out, but they were still family. They still loved one another. And I liked the guy
Mhm.
that was working the window and was like, "Hey, handsome, what do you want?" Like
Uh-huh.
it was. I liked that. Was there
Mhm.
anything else you wanted to say about the bear before we move on?
Yes, I forgot to put this in here, but the fact that John Cena is a fact, like I feel like my black ass is a fact at this point because everybody is a fact. Everyone. It's like
Is a
100 of
fact.
them.
FACT.
A fact, like Neil Fact, that little family of the
Oh, that's his last name in the show?
yeah, he's like that one family that's always there, like Neil, the one with the tattoos, like the
Oh,
fat
yeah,
one,
yeah.
the
He's like,
dad.
stop haunting me, bro. Like,
Yeah,
And
it's
he was
like
haunting the guy.
family that keeps coming around. But yes, John Cena is one of them. But it seems like there's so many of them.
If they keep adding, I think it would be cool to get Mark Wahlberg in there.
Yes, I could see it.
Because he's got that kind of like, I think he's from
Hmm.
Boston, not Chicago, but
He
I don't
is,
know. I
yeah.
still feel like that accent city kind of works. Like, even if they pull
Hmm.
like a known actor from New York, I feel like it could still work. Because there are times
Hmm.
where I feel like the show gives me a New York esque kind of like
Hmm.
vibe.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a nice touch. I was like, I was not expecting to see John Cena.
Me either. And he's literally in everything. I feel like
Yeah.
he's just like, even if somebody was like, hey, we wouldn't mind you being in here for like 3 seconds. You want to do it? He's like, yeah. He's ready. He's ready. He'd be ready.
Yes. Yes.
Moving on to our second plot and pop is the fourth installment in the Beverly Hills Cop film series, Beverly Hills Cop
Mhm.
Axel, which is now streaming on Netflix, which follows Detroit detective Axel Foley, played by Eddie Murphy, who is back in Beverly Hills with a new case, a new partner, and some unfinished business. What were your thoughts on the movie?
I think it's so funny. This franchise is called Beverly Hills Cop when he's from Detroit and like he reps Detroit.
He does.
Like I saw the first one and the second one, didn't see the third one because it wasn't on Netflix. But he never, from my knowledge, he never actually solves a case in Detroit, even though he is a cop. He only solves them when he goes over to Beverly Hills. So maybe that's why they call him that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this one by far is my favorite one of the franchise because they started like in 1980. So I think, they've just gotten, of course, it's 2024. So
Yeah.
but I think it did draw a lot of similarities with Bad Boys. Not that I
Hmm.
would have normally compared them, but I guess just because they dropped their fourth ones kind of at the same time and we just talked about it. But both are the fourth in their series. Both films deal with like estranged father-child relationships.
Uh-huh.
In both the films, the daughter's love interest proves to be valuable, both in Bad Boys and in Axel F. And I do think the incorporation of the children comes with the actors getting older because if they're going to continue with these franchises, they got to kind of, as we talked about last time with Bad Boys, they got to shift it.
Torch.
Yes. But I do love the consistency they have with Axel's character. Like his fast talking, like almost con man like self has been in the ones that I've seen previously. Like he
Hmm.
can fast talk his way, show that badge, and beat absolutely anybody. I'm like what? And he is the perfect person to do it. He really is. And he's always wearing that Detroit Lions jacket too. I'm glad they kept that. And even down to like the same hotel scene, like where the hotel he stays in is the same one he stayed in the first time, and he found
Yeah.
his way into that one too because they were booked, and then he said some stuff about them being racist, and then they gave him the money. But yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. What about you?
I enjoyed the film as well. I appreciate it a lot for like supporting characters. Like, I always love when I see
Hmm.
somebody I know. I have
Hmm.
not, like you, I haven't seen the third one, but I also didn't see any of the priors. I know you were saying you saw one and two. I haven't seen any of them besides this one. And to be
Hmm.
honest, it just made me kind of nostalgic for another Norbit. Like, I know Bad Boys made me nostalgic for another Big Mama. I don't know what it is. I think it's because when they're talking, you kind of hear those characters. Like in Martin,
Hmm.
sometimes when he's telling a joke or something, I hear Respucia. And then like in here, when I hear him saying, oh no, Respucia would be Norbit. But sometimes
Yeah,
when I hear Martin do
your big
something, I
mama.
hear Big Mama. Yeah. And it's like,
Hmm.
cause they change their voices, but like not like, sometimes they kind of break and you can hear it a little bit. I thought it had a great pace and plot. I thought it was very predictable, but still
Yeah.
very enjoyable. And
Hmm.
that's where sometimes you can it's hard to, when a movie's very predictable, that people still enjoy it at the end of it.
Right.
I feel like every time Kevin Bacon is in a movie, 80% of the time he's playing a bad guy. So I already knew the minute they showed him, like, oh yeah, he's the bad cop.
Yeah.
Like he's the dirty cop. And then my girl, Taylor Page, who played Eddie Murphy's daughter, glad to
Hmm.
see her on my screen again. My favorite role, and the favorite she will ever be that I've seen, is in VH1's Hit the Floor. I don't know if you remember that
Oh yeah.
NBA cheerleading show. Like she killed it. Like I loved her in
Hmm.
that. And lastly, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays like her love interest and the cop that ends up helping them too. He's grown up before our eyes, and I think he's so handsome, and I've enjoyed his
Hmm.
transformation from his baby face. And it's crazy what a beard can do. Like it really is makeup for men.
Hmm.
And if they do a fifth one, I would definitely watch it, but I don't foresee myself going back and watching the first three.
Yeah. No, I definitely get it. And yes, when I saw Taylor Page, the first thing I thought of was Hit the Floor. I don't think I've seen her in any. anything else
She
that comes to
played in some
mind?
other stuff, but it didn't do well. Like, so she played in
Oh,
that one movie with the white girl who like robs a bank. She's
the
yeah,
Zola,
and I couldn't get into it. Started it, didn't finish it. And then she played in the other movie, if you remember, with the Asian basketball player, and she plays like his love interest. Pop Smoke was in it. Shawnee, you know what I'm talking about.
Asian.
Yes, it's an Asian basketball player, and he's like trying to beat Pop Smoke. Like they both come from the hood, and they like are playing street ball.
I think I have
You
to
know,
look
you
this
know.
up. I need to look at this because all I'm thinking about is y'all.
I mean, hey yo, go ahead. This man isn't even tall. I don't know what they were doing when they made this movie, but yeah, no, like his Asian family like really didn't want him to play basketball. Yeah, like yeah, I was glad to see her in this. I was really happy for
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that. But yeah, no, Zola, yeah, I do remember she was in that. That was, do you remember that Twitter thread? That's where that came from. Like someone tweeted the story and they said they were going to make it a movie.
Yes.
Yes. So maybe I should have stayed at Twitter. And
Yeah, I
if you
should have
didn't like
stayed at
it, maybe
Twitter.
I
At
should have stayed
Twitter.
on there.
For sure.
Yes. But I saw Eddie Murphy's own daughter and son-in-law were the cops that arrested him during the movie. So like the first time he got arrested and that girl, like in that little, he was at the Fisher Price car, the girl driving. She was his daughter, and she looks a lot like his first wife. If you look at her, well, I don't know if Nicole's his first wife, but the wife I most associate him with,
Yeah.
Murphy, yeah. And then his son-in-law arrested him. I think that scene where they found the cocaine in the truck, in
Okay,
the
so
trunk of the car.
question.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know which is which, so help me. Is it
Okay,
one of Eddie Murphy's kids and Martin Lawrence's kids either married or dating?
I thought so too. Yeah, they're yeah. So I
Is
think
that
it
this
is
daughter or no, a different daughter?
a different daughter. I think it's Martin's
Okay, Eddie
daughter.
Murphy's sons. Okay,
Yeah,
I
but they
got you.
are. Yeah, they are, which is cute.
Okay.
Let's see. What else was I gonna say? Oh, the first two movies were okay. The first was
Hmm.
better than the second, but it's not something I
Okay.
recommend you have to go see. They did keep like Rosewood and Taggart and Sergey or Serge or however they say his name. They were all consistent characters from the
Okay.
movies. I like how they kept that. They did age, but I mean it's cute that they still are there. And yes, Kevin Bacon, he does love a villain role. I think he has that look. Like I
He
don't know.
does. He
He loved to say he up to no good. But I did overall, I really did enjoy this movie. And if you guys have not seen it, you might as well go ahead and watch it. It's right here on Netflix. So you can just click. So yeah, I recommend it. But moving on to our recommended watch. So it is Fences. And the description is Troy Maxon makes his living as a sanitation worker in the 1950s Pittsburgh. Maxon once dreamed of becoming a professional baseball player, but was deemed too old when the major leagues began admitting black athletes. Bitter over his missed opportunity, Troy creates further tension in his family when he squashes his son's chance to meet a college football recruiter. This movie was recommended by Khalil Oakland on IG. Shout out to Khalil. And it was based on a play by August Wilson of the same name, which won a Pulitzer Prize, which I should have known because the whole time I was watching this, I was like, who wrote this? This is amazing. Who wrote this? But
right.
now as so Khalil provided us with his thoughts and he gave very thorough thoughts, like just well put together. So I'm just going to read them directly off the quote. So he said, off top, the acting and dialogue in Fences were phenomenal, capturing the realities of the Black family in its tumultuous cycle, which are current and systematic. The themes of pressure stand out to me, mainly through Troy Maxon, who faces societal and personal pressures, shaping his actions and relationships with his family. Troy's past, disappointments, and societal constraints lead him to project his frustrations onto his son, Corey, perpetuating a cycle of generational pressure. Meanwhile, Rose, Troy's wife, endures the pressure of maintaining the family and being the perfect wife and mother despite Troy's flaws. Yeah, I could have said it better, Cleo, honestly.
No,
Thank you. Yeah,
very
but
well
I
written.
definitely, right. I definitely would have to agree. The entire time watching this, like I said, I kept thinking this writing is amazing. So the dialogue, it was so many quotes in like many monologues. Like you
Mhm.
could keep up. Like most movies might have like one that stands out or maybe two, but this one I feel like every few minutes somebody was saying
Was
something that
deliberate.
I'm, oh yeah, I need to write this. You could not have picked a better cast for this movie. Denzel and Viola are two of the best actors on screen right now, and I'll argue with anybody about that. And if you,
No, I agree. I agree 1,000%.
yes,
No argument here.
right, but I definitely didn't think I could hate Denzel and anything else other than Training Day, but this took the cake. But at the same time, it's like it's kind of hard to hate him because, like Khalil said, this just the pressures of being a black man in America. basically, like we said, having to raise yourself created this like hardened person. So I don't know, but I just the way he treated them, I just couldn't.
When I think of the best role Viola, which was she played Rose, has ever played, and this is it. Like this is the movie. Like this is what I think of. Like everyone's like, well, what's the best? When she's over there confronting Denzel, who's played by Troy, about cheating. Because he did the very thing she was trying to avoid. Like I felt her when she was like sitting here at dinner and we like, well, my daddy and my mama, well, my daddy, all of them having a different dad. She didn't want that for her son. And the thing is that the movie took place in the house 90% of the time, and that was a struggle for me. Even when I watched it back, I remember like, I just need a few more background changes. Like it's a lot in this house, but
Yeah.
it's still phenomenal. I mean, the writing was still great and it keeps you above, but I feel like that would be the only thing that would make it better. But I like that they stuck to like, if the writing was like that and they did the movie like that, because when they get to changing, things don't usually work out. So I can see that. And I just think men are just so selfish. And I think Troy, played by Denzel, shows you that. Like, he over here explaining to her why he cheated. Like, I can be myself with her. I can sit in the house and laugh. You think Rose don't want to sit at home and laugh? Like, he was selfish. She was selfless. Like, and that's just, it's insane.
Yeah, she a better woman than me.
She a better woman than me.
Yes. So, okay, the second thing that Khalil said, which is also well put, so I'm just going to read the quote directly. In Corey and Rose, Troy also seems indifferent and emotionally detached about his feelings and flaws and how he treats them, which is the most relatable to me. In the Black family, it almost feels like you're obligated to accept whatever circumstances, no matter the emotional toll it takes on you, because someone is providing for you, and that's unacceptable. The film vividly portrays the emotional and psychological toll of navigating identities and aspirations under a systematic oppression and familial expectations. Yes, once again, Khalil Chef's. Troy wasn't shown how to love, so he couldn't love. Like when he told that story about his dad, like finding him messing around with that girl, and then like beats him so that he can proceed to mess around with this little 13-year-old girl, and then Troy has to defend her and gets knocked out by his dad or whatever. He's like laying by the river. That already just showed you who raised him, and then he left after that, and he was so young. But I've noticed that a lot of Black men in the community express their love by what they can provide for their family. So when Troy said, I ain't got nothing else to give, I feel like many Black men during that time, and even until recently, felt that sentiment. Play was written back in the 1950s. So I know it's kind of a weird comparison, but it's kind of like I guess Insecure would be like a relatable thing for us. So it was kind of like
with like showing
Insecure of that
relationship
time.
dynamics.
So I could see me and my husband going to see this play and him feeling everything that Troy had to say. Like he feels represented. But yeah, Troy literally had the attitude of, at least I'm here taking care of you, when it came to both his wife and his son, which is crazy, but I do feel like represents a lot of men during that time.
Yeah. I just don't like and will never understand how fidelity is so hard to ask for. Like, I'll never understand that why men just cannot cheat. Like, I mean, cannot stop cheating. Like, I feel like Rose wasn't happy either. Everything that he was listing, she felt too. Like, she kept in that scene. I'm in the same spot as you. And so I feel like if Rose didn't fold, then why is it okay for you to fold? And like, I have a lot of empathy for Black men, but as Black women, I think we put it on everybody. Like, we'll literally settle and be down to ride no matter the circumstance. A man isn't going to be down to ride with a woman. Like, if a woman is going through all this and he finds a woman that's not doing all that, he will run to that woman very quickly. Whereas women, I feel like there's so many times me and my friends have dated men that are not as educated, and we down. Like, there's a Howard graduate right there. But I got this man at home and he's working hard. So like, I see he's working hard. I see his potential. So I'm going to stick it out and ride. So it's just like, I kind of didn't really care for what he was saying. I'm not saying that what his feelings aren't valid, but I just don't think that I don't think it means you get to just do what you want to do because you got to laugh for the first time and do all these things. I just feel like Viola, when she signed up for the marriage and she brought it up about like how she was telling herself in the doctor's office, like, this is the finest, like telling herself this is the finest man. Like, you have to, like, when you get married, you make a choice that is not going to always be rainbows and butterflies. And I feel like men don't And not all men, but some men don't grasp that. And I think it's a maturity thing. And that's why I think you hear a lot of times like men don't really stop cheating and like being a man until they're like 45, 50. But I don't agree with it. And I just think women, we take on so much as Black women. Like we will work 3 jobs. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like Denzel, instead of running around and you saying you can't do nothing but provide and you're in the situation, how about you pick up a second job? Then maybe you won't be thinking about Mr. Johnson so much. Pick up a second job. But like men don't do that. When they get upset, they like lean on being lazier. They lean on like, okay, let me go distract myself from my issues and go drink, or let me go smoke, or let me go link with a girl. Where I feel like women, we are so different. Like I know a lot of my girlfriends that are just so ambitious and will pick up 2 or 3 jobs. Like I don't know. It's crazy. It's a cycle, and I really want it to end. And I felt so, and I loved how he ran out of there, and his dad was on that's straight to you, boy. Don't talk to me like, oh, shut up, Denzel.
Okay, you didn't hear him in this movie, and
Yeah,
I
he
love
pissed
him.
me off. He pissed me off.
And like
Pissed
you
me
said,
off.
like she even said herself, like when she did that little monologue, sweating and crying and stuff.
Yeah, and snot and all of it.
Yeah. She said, I would have expected this 10, 15 years ago, but
Yep.
you wait. You're 53
He said
and
age
you
ain't got nothing to do with it, Rose.
right. She was better than me. She was yeah, we would have been rolling in that dirt. Rolling in that dirt. I picked up that baseball
No,
bat. So
rolling that dirt is hilarious. But like, no, but you're so right though. Like to wait till you're 50 to try to now you want to live your life. Be for real.
the most disrespectful part about was the justification. Like, like
Yes.
him telling her, like that's already above. But then she's like, "Are you gonna keep seeing her?" And he's like, "You
Yes.
make me laugh. I feel from the bottom of my feet. I just can laugh, Rose." I said, "Oh God, I wanted to come through that, come through the phone."
I'm gonna
Oh
make you feel
God,
something in your toes. Just you
right,
wait.
right. God, and like the way the energy he was giving the whole movie, I was waiting on him to hit somebody. Like I don't know, it was given
Yeah, he
like
was very deep rooted anger. Yeah,
yes,
I was
like
waiting for that.
he was right there, ready to like I don't know. The whole time I was watching this, I was ready for him to
But you know
swing.
what? It kind of reminds me of Eric, where it's like in his eyes, he was a step better than his dad because like his dad beat him and he didn't beat his
Mm-hmm.
son. So I feel like that's why he never let it get there. Because he's like, if I'm anything, I'm not going to be that man. And I
Right.
think a lot of times men and women, we're all so focused on not doing what was done to us, but completely negating that your daughter needs something different from you. Your son needs something different from you. Like, yeah, you want to give yourself a pat on the back. Like, yeah, I never beat my kids like my dad did, but like your kid is still, there's something that your kid's not
Mm-hmm.
getting from you that they need from you.
Mm-hmm. And I was so upset he didn't let that boy meet that football
I
recruiter.
know, but just because he's bitter, like you're not about to go and I be see. What was the son's name?
Corey.
He was born in the wrong generation. Because these days, these parents will sit there and push their kids to go to the league. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be in this gym every day. You about to put food on the table for
Mm-hmm.
this family. Like that would have been a dream come
You know
true
whose
for a
dad he
family.
need? You know whose dad he need? Troy from oh wait, no, yeah, he do need the one from Waves, but he
Oh,
need
okay, that's
Troy's
what that's
dad
your
from
thing.
High School Music.
He do. That's what he
Yeah.
needs. That's what he.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. If you guys have not seen it, and I'm embarrassed to say this was my first time seeing this movie, but I
Yeah,
do
this
love.
is the first one that like you hadn't seen, and
Yeah,
I even saw it in theaters. When I
yeah,
first saw it, I saw it in theaters with my parents
yeah.
because we didn't miss it. Then
2016 was a long year for me. So when I looked at the year it came out, I'm like, oh, that makes
that
sense why.
makes sense. That
Yeah,
adds up.
right. But this has, I think it was 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, and
Yeah,
then I don't see how Hitman scored. I'm gonna say this every time. Hitman
no,
had
literally.
96, and Fences has 92. But before we do go off of Fences, they did. Bono said a quote, and I think it kind of might be the quote that like kind of ties in the whole thing.
Hmm.
Troy was like, I don't know why Rose want a fence. We ain't got nothing worth stealing. And Bono was like, some people build fences to keep things out, and other people build fences to keep things in. She trying to hold on to y'all. And I really do think that was like the quote that kind of summed up the whole
Hmm.
this
Couldn't keep
play
Troy
turned to
though.
movie.
Troy jumped that damn fence every chance he
Mm-mm.
got.
And then he tried to use it like right when his baby mama died. He was like yelling at Death like out the window, and he was like, "My build this fence, and Mr. Death, you don't need to come." Like whatever he said, keep my family, leave my family alone, or something he was saying. Like it's a little too late, sir. Don't try to get a
Yeah.
heart now that your
Right. Like,
season
they don't
not
really show you, but, like, I just feel like when men do things like that, it never works out. Like, it's not gonna work out. Like, that's just not how it works. And then but it's
Mhm,
going to work out for Rose. So that's why I will say is that, like, I feel like a lot of times when women go through what they go through, if you're a good woman, good things are gonna happen to you. And, like, if you're a good man, good things will happen to you. But, like, if you
mhm,
do things like that and you do them to people that, like, literally did nothing to you,
mhm,
your karma's gonna come back tenfold. Women too. Like, you gotta put good out into the world and you gotta make good decisions, because at the end of the day, Troy was still selfish, because when you knew you were starting to feel these emotions, why you ain't bring it to her then? You waited till, like,
mhm.
y'all had been at the point where she's bringing the child into this world. Like, oh yeah, I got to tell Rose now. Because had she
Right.
not got pregnant, he probably wouldn't have stopped.
You were never told,
He
yeah.
wouldn't have even told her. It just would have kept doing him.
Mhm,
Having two families, two lives.
mhm. But yeah, guys, go watch it if you haven't.
Yes,
Don't
go
be like
watch it.
me. Don't be like. All right, well that wraps it up. So next week's watch list is actually our Watch Your Show, which is Queenie, which is on Hulu. And we also have Divorce in Black, which is on Prime. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm hearing a lot of mixed
I
reviews.
saw it.
I can't wait to watch. And then I recommended is Something About Mary, recommended by Black. Hefe Salam on Instagram.
What is
But
it?
yeah,
Hefe what?
Salam. What is it? SALM.
Okay.
I gotta look. I'll put it in the caption when I put the
Okay.
next post up.
All right,
Yes.
sounds good. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to send us your recommendations, because we want to hear from you. We want to hear your guys' thoughts. And until next week, bye.
Bye.